So we're in the third part of the tutorial, and now it's time to add some interactivity. So the first thing that we're going to do is add some box triggers. So we can go over and type box. There's a box trigger. We'll just drag that next to the door, and I want to size that. I'm going to hit F to frame up. Size it so that we can detect a good space in front of the door. And what I'm going to do is we'll make it so that we can detect when we walk into that as well as when we are walking out, because we can make the door close behind us. So why don't we do that first? So I've sized this up. So now since we have it selected, we can type, if you don't have it selected, you can just go in and type box, and then we can go into the level blueprint. So we'll go up to blueprints, open level blueprint, and just to make it easy for us, let's scale this so that we can kind of see the areas we're going to work in, and you can kind of open this blueprint. So now I have this selected, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to add an event. And I'm going to add a collision event. So when we walk into it, we're going to overlap it. And also, we'll do something when we walk out of it. We'll close the door. So collision, when we end overlap. So when we begin overlap and end overlap. And what are we going to do? We're going to modify the door. We're going to make the door open and close. So we've selected the door. Now we need to make sure the door is movable. I'm going to say that twice because quite often this can be a step you're like, why isn't my object moving? And that could be because you haven't set it to movable. There's a lot of different little areas that you can stumble, but that's one of them. So we've selected that. Let's create a reference to the door. So right click, create a reference to it. It's like a variable to that actor. And then we are going to, in this case, we're just going to use a node called a timeline. So I'll type timeline. I hit right click, timeline, and then we'll just give it a name, call it door opener. And then we're going to double click in there. And then I'm going to choose one of these variables. And we'll go over these nodes a little bit more in depth in the blueprints chapter. I'm going to create a new float track. We'll give it a name, door rotation. And then we can add keyframes to that. And we do that by holding down the shift key and clicking on this timeline. So over 2 seconds, I want that door to open. There's a bunch of different ways we could accomplish having that door open. One of the easiest ways for this tutorial will be to look at the current state of the rotation and change the rotation to that state. In the blueprint section, we'll go over ways that'll make it a little bit more adaptive. So I'll select this door, and then the initial rotation in the z-axis is minus 89. So we're going to select that, and we'll set the variable to minus 89. And then we're going to zoom the extents to fit the horizontal and vertical. And then the final rotation, let's check to see where do we want to rotate to. Probably 45 degrees would just be fine. Okay, so I'm going to hit undo. We'll select this final keyframe, and then we'll type in 45. And we'll zoom the extents. And then also, I'm going to select this keyframe and right click and add an auto key, which adds in an ease in and an ease out to it, so the door will open up a little bit more nicely. So now we got to go back to the event graph and connect all of this. When we overlap that trigger, we'll start to open the door. When we leave the trigger, we will reverse that. Great. So now we're going to take this information that's being generated over time, and we're going to connect the variable that we created called the door rotation, and that's when we named here, and we're going to affect this door actor, or door variable in this case. So we'll just type in rotate, and in this case, relative rotation will be working fine for us. So set actor relative rotation. We can connect the update, but one of the issues that you're going to notice is that if we drag this over here, This is a float variable and they're color coded green. And this is a vector, it's 3. We can right click and we can split this into the 3 axes that we need. And we double checked earlier that we needed the Z axis, so we're just going to drag this over. And we can hit F7 to double check our compile. And we can select all these nodes and hit C. We'll name it door. So for commenting and also for moving it around, it's kind of convenient. Let's just quickly test this. So we'll hit Alt P and walk up. Door opens, we walk back, the door closes. Great. Let's do the light and the add audio really quickly. So for the light, let's minimize this for now. And we will go down to visible. We'll uncheck that. So because when we start, we want that unchecked. And then we want some audio. So here's audio. Here's the music, and we can just drag that in. And also, similar to the light, we want the auto activate to not play. So let's check this. We'll type auto activate. We'll go down here to auto activate and uncheck that. Great. And so now when we go into the trigger box, which we haven't created yet, and so if you're ever in a dark area, like I am right now, we can probably switch to either wireframe or unlit modes. And let's get the box trigger. We could duplicate or create a new box trigger. Since we have one that's sized nicely, we could just type box, select that, and just hold down the Alt key and duplicate that box trigger. Nudge that into place. So now that we have that box trigger there, we can go back into our blueprints and we'll create a similar sequence. We need, just like before, it's an event when we walk into it, and it's just like the door in that we are overlapping it. So we'll open that up, begin overlap. And what are the variables that we need? The actors that we need to select is the light bulb. So we're going to talk to the light bulb and we're right clicking. We are going to create a reference to the light bulb, and we're going to create a reference to the audio. So the music cue in this case. And then we're going to drag off of the point light because that helps to create a context sensitive discussion. So what sort of things are we going to do? We're going to toggle it. We're going to toggle the visibility of the light. And we're also going to toggle the audio. But we're not toggling, since it's audio, it's not visible. So we have a different kind of toggle. So it's the toggle active. And we'll just connect this whole sequence. And then similarly to before, we'll select all these nodes and hit the C key. There, so now we've got 2 groups. And we'll just move this around. You can hit F7 or go up to here to compile. And then let's test. Let's also switch back into lit mode, so Alt 4. We'll hit Alt P to play. Let's walk up to the door. Walk up the stairs. Hey, the audio and the light turn on. Great. So now to get rid of this preview on everything, we can quickly bake our lights. So under build, because we do have some static lights here. You can see that, well, when you have preview all over the place, that's a good indication that you want to bake your lighting. Also, when you hit play and you see the lighting needs to be rebuilt, there you go. That's another reason. And reflection capture needs to be rebuilt. So we'll go into the build settings and just hit build. And I'll pause the video. So that didn't take long. And now I'm going to also just test one more time and look inside. Yeah, you can see that the preview has gone away. Test the interactive physics objects there. And we're good. All right, that'll wrap things up for this video.